You know, when you first think about it, living in the Star Wars galaxy sounds incredible. You look up and the sky isn't just full of stars, it's full of ships, massive vessels cruising between entire worlds. It really feels like the ultimate dream, right? A galaxy just brimming with adventure, all connected by this amazing technology. It's the future we all imagined.
I mean, just picture it. The ability to literally jump to light speed. You could leave your whole world and all its problems behind in a flash.
Or what about the chance to walk among 1,000 different species? To see cultures so totally different they'd stretch your imagination.
It all sounds like the ultimate freedom, the chance to start over, to hop between systems, to become whoever you want to be.
But hang on a second. We have to ask a really important question here. Amidst all this grandeur, all these epic stories about heroes and villains, where do you actually fit into the picture?
Well, here's the simple, kinda brutal truth of it all. You're not a Jedi. You're not a Sith Lord or a senator or some legendary bounty hunter. You are just a person living here. And that, right there, is where all the problems really begin. To really get why life in this galaxy is so tough, you first have to wrap your head around the sheer, mind-boggling scale of it all. We're not talking about a few countries or even a single planet. We're talking about thousands upon thousands of star systems. And when your government is trying to operate across that kind of distance, well, individual problems, your problems, become completely invisible. So what this means is, if your planet is suffering, from widespread poverty, rampant crime, maybe even a collapsing environment, there's a really good chance that nobody in power even knows it's happening. And if they do, they probably don't care. To them, you're just one tiny system on an impossibly long list of other, more important systems. And that massive scale leads to one of the galaxy's most fundamental truths. Not all planets are created equal. In fact, the inequality is just extreme. On one side, you've got the core worlds. They're wealthy, they're politically powerful, they're well protected. And then on the other side, you have the outer rim, poor, lawless, and almost completely ignored. In this galaxy, where you're born isn't just a location. It's basically your destiny. If you hit the jackpot and you're born in the core, life is pretty stable. But if you're born out in the rim, oh man, your reality is defined by crime syndicates running the show, the constant threat of being sold into slavery, unstable economies, and basically zero protection from any kind of central government. This huge inequality, this lack of protection, it creates a massive power vacuum. And that leads us directly to the next big issue, the government itself. Because, at one point, the galaxy had a republic. It was a democratic system, flawed, for sure, but it functioned. There was at least some representation, some debate. And then it all collapsed. That flawed democracy of the Republic eventually just crumbled and gave way to the Galactic Empire. And that is a totally different beast. It's a centralized, authoritarian regime. It's led by one person who controls everything: the military, the economy, the entire political system. There are no real elections, no checks and balances, nothing. And if your planet happens to be under imperial control, you are going to notice. This is not some distant government sending you messages. We're talking about a military force marching down your streets. The empire doesn't govern its territories, it occupies them. Your daily life just becomes a series of boring, soul-crushing oppressions. You've got stormtroopers at every checkpoint, patrols on every corner, and giant Star Destroyers just hovering over your city. You'll be showing your identity papers constantly, dealing with curfews, and just accepting that you're always being watched. And if you step out of line, you're not arguing with a local cop, you're arguing with the military. But this whole system isn't just held up by soldiers on the street. It's fueled by something bigger: the economics of constant war and the ever-present threat of violence on a planetary scale. See, war isn't just an event that happens here, it's the entire system. Because the galaxy is in the state of perpetual conflict. You've got rebellions, separatists, local disputes, military production never, ever stops. And that means resources are constantly being diverted away from you. Money that could go to infrastructure, healthcare, or creating any kind of stability is instead just poured into warships, weapons, and soldiers. As a civilian, you live inside that war economy every single day. And this brings us to the ultimate escalation of all that power. I want you to consider a planet like Alderaan, a peaceful world, a center for culture and art, home to an estimated 2 billion people. That's 2 billion individual lives. Alderaan wasn't just attacked.
It was erased. The Empire has a weapon that can destroy an entire planet in an instant. And what that means for you is that at any given moment, your whole existence, your home, your family, your entire world could just be eliminated. Not because of something you did, but as a political message. That is the insane power imbalance you're living under.
So what happens in all those vast regions where the empire doesn't really have a tight grip? Is it freedom? No way. When a government creates a power vacuum like that, something else always rushes in to fill it. In a huge chunk of the galaxy, order isn't provided by any kind of state. It's provided by criminal organizations. The Hutts, black market networks, bounty hunter guilds, they're the ones who control trade. They enforce their own rules, and they do it all with total impunity. In these places, your safety depends entirely on who's in charge that day, and whether or not you can pay them. Law is optional. Power is not. So what about the people everyone talks about, the Jedi? From a distance, they seem like these noble protectors, right? Guardians of peace. But the reality is, they are incredibly rare. Most people in the galaxy will never, ever even see one. They're operating on a completely different level, dealing with Sith Lords and galactic political crises. They aren't managing your local crime problem. The Jedi are a symbol, not a solution. Okay, so let's bring this all together. What does all of this actually mean for you, the average person just trying to get by? It means you live in a galaxy where power is concentrated at the very top. Inequality is extreme, war is just a constant hum in the background, and your safety is never, ever guaranteed. When you're living inside it, the Star Wars galaxy isn't really about epic battles and heroic journeys. It's about being a tiny, tiny cog in a massive, indifferent machine. Your life is fundamentally shaped by systems that are completely out of your hands. You're going to feel the consequences of every major decision, every political shift, every distant conflict. You live under governments you had no say in choosing, and you get caught in the crossfire of wars you had no part in starting. And ultimately, you're just surrounded by powers so immense that challenging them is, well, it's unthinkable. Whether it's the military might of the Empire or the economic grip of a crime syndicate, you are simply not important enough to fight back. So, if you ever find yourself looking up at that sky, watching those starships glide between worlds, just remember this. Somewhere out there, right now, a decision is being made by people you'll never meet. A decision that could change your entire planet or end it.